Hi, I'm Sherry. Welcome to my YouTube channel. One thing that I've always done all my life is I have read a proverb, every chapter out of Proverbs in the Bible every day. And it's something that my grandfather instilled in me long, long, long ago. I was real little. He'd always say, a proverb a day keeps the devil away. And there's so much wisdom and there's so much knowledge and there's so much that we can gain by reading Proverbs. And ironically, there's 31 chapters. So in most of the days, there are 31 days in a month. So it really works out perfectly. It's almost as if God wanted us to just do that, naturally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a series on a proverb a day. And today I'm going to read Proverbs 1 and then give a little bit of insight on it. Not very much because it's, the whole chapter that I'm reading. So I don't want to take up time with my thoughts, but I would want you to hear the proverb. Okay, Proverbs 1. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, for obtaining wisdom and discipline, for the understanding words of insight, for acquiring a disciplined and prudent life, doing what is right and just and fair, for giving prudence to the simple, knowledge and discretion to the young. Let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance, for understanding proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise. Okay, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. Listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. They will be a garland to grace your head, and a chain to adorn your neck. My son, if sinners entice you, do not give in to them. If they say, come along with us, let's lie in wait for someone's blood. Let's waylay some harmless soul. Let's swallow them alive like the grave, and whole like those who go down to the pit. We will get all sorts of value of things, and fill our houses with plunder. Throw in your lot with us, and we will share a common purse. My son, do not go along with them. Do not set foot on their paths, for their feet rush into sin. They are swift to shed blood. How useless to spread a net in full view of all the birds. These men lie in wait for their own blood. They waylay only themselves. Such is the end of all who goes after ill-gotten gain. It takes away the lives of those who get it. Wisdom's warnings. Wisdom calls aloud in the streets. She raises her voice in the public square. At the head of the noisy street she cries out. In the gates of the city she makes her speech. How long will you simple ones live your simple ways? How long will mockers delight in mockery, and fools hate knowledge? If you had responded to my rebuke, I would have poured out my heart to you, and made my thoughts known to you. But since you rejected me when I called, and no one gave heed when I stretched out my hand, since you ignored all of my advice and would not accept my rebuke, I in turn will laugh at your disaster. I will mock when calamity overtakes you. When calamity overtakes you like a storm, when disaster sweeps over you like a whirlwind, when distress and trouble overwhelms you, then they will call to me, but I will not answer. They will look for me, but they will not find me. Since they hate knowledge and did not choose to fear the Lord, since they would not accept my advice and spurned my rebuke, they will eat the fruit of their ways and be filled with the fruit of their schemes. For the waywardness of the simple will kill them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. But whoever listens to me will live in safety and be at ease without fear of harm. Well, I read that from the NIV, and it talks about how that, we should seek wisdom. When we have friends that are doing stuff over here, and they're plundering and they're scheming and they're lying and they're cheating, we're not supposed to go that way. We're supposed to go towards the other way and live righteously and live honestly and live an upright life and be honorable and trustworthy. We're not supposed to go and do all these schemes, because people, when they do all their schemes, they eventually get caught. They eventually get found out. When they lie, cheat, and steal, people figure it out. People aren't stupid. People can figure out when you're lying to them. They can figure out when you're cheating them. They can figure out when you're just plain being bad. People can see it. People think that they're getting away with something, but they're really not. And the worst thing is that they're doing it before the Lord, and the Lord sees everything, and He sees what you're doing, and I always thought of it this way. I wouldn't want to do anything bad that the Lord would see. And I always think about, it says in the Bible that we have a cloud of witnesses that are up there cheering us on. Well, the cloud of witnesses that I have are my grandparents and my aunts and my uncles that have died before me and that knew me. And if they're looking down and they're cheering me on, that means they see what I do. Well, I don't want to do anything that's going to make them feel bad or going to make them think, oh my goodness, I did not raise her that way. I've always looked at what my actions did, and I always think, would it make my grandparents proud? Would it make my aunts and uncles proud? Would it make the people that have gone on before me, would it make them proud, or would it make them embarrassed of who I was? Or would it make them feel that they failed me? And I always looked at that, and a lot of us, we don't really think about that. We don't really think about that cloud of witnesses. There's people that's watching us in heaven right now. They can see what we're doing, and they can cheer us on. And a lot of people don't think about that. They're just, they can cheer us and they can see us, and I don't want to do anything that, would make them sad. And then when you get over into, how long would the simple ones love your simple ways? How long would the mockers delight in mockery and the fools hate knowledge? If you had responded to my rebuke, I would have poured out my heart to you and made my thoughts known to you. But since you rejected me when I called, and no one gave heed when I stretched out my hand, since you ignored my advice and would not accept my rebuke, I in turn will laugh at your disaster. I will mock when calamity overtakes you. This right here talks about when we make mistakes, when we do things. God He's there, but every action has a reaction, and everything we do has a response. And when we cheat and steal, or we lie, there's going to be a response. There's something going to happen. And God's not going to take away those consequences. That's the consequences of our actions. And that's kind of what this is talking about here. God's not going to change the consequences because of your actions. Just because you decide, oh, well, I'm going to be a Christian and I'm going to ask Jesus into my heart. So then everything I did in my past is not going to, I'm free of that. I don't have to take those consequences. That's wrong. You still have to deal with the consequences of the actions that you do. So if you do things that are not good, you still have the consequences of those actions that you have to deal with. And that's what it's saying here, that God's not going to just wipe it all away. He overlooks the sin and He forgives you of the sin, but you still have to deal with the consequences. So that's a really good scripture chapter there. It talks about, being wise. We can be foolish or we can be wise. I had this when my kids were little. I had them, the chart, go to the ants. The ants, they prepared. Then you have the grasshoppers that they just lived. And then, you could compare their actions. And, you can do foolish things or you can do wise things. And if you do foolish things, there's consequences. And if you do wise things, there's consequences. And I would have, like if you lied, you're going to have consequences. You're going to be grounded. But if you tell the truth, you might be sad for a little bit, but you're going to tell the truth. You're not going to have to keep up with the lie. There was all these little, if I do this, then this is going to happen, my if-then charts. I've made up all kinds of charts to teach my children with, and it come right out of Proverbs. Some of the things that are in Proverbs, it's like an if-then chart. If I do this, then this is going to happen. But if I do that, then that is going to happen. When I follow God's precepts, my life is going to be better than when I follow my own devices, or when I follow the devil. I mean, geez, your life, it can be good or it can be bad, and it's your choice. And the consequences of every action that you take is what this is talking about. We have to really weigh situations out. We can't just go running off and doing things and not think about what the consequences of those actions will be. And sometimes it may, we may want to do something, but it's the consequences of that are not going to be good. So, sometimes we just have to say, well, I just can't do that. Or I need to do this because this is going to help me in this direction. It may be something that we don't want to do, but we may just have to do it. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little commentary on Proverbs 1. And tomorrow we'll go over Proverbs 2. If you get a chance, take and read it. Read it in a couple of translations too. I'm going to have a couple of different translations that I might read to you in different parts that would help you. So if you enjoyed my content, please click the subscribe button. And if you want to know when I have new content, please click the bell icon. That way you'll be notified. Well, share this with someone that you know that needs an encouraging word for today. Thank you so much, and you have a great day today. Bye.